It is exactly 5 years ago that we, in expectation of the cornerstone ceremony for the Berlin Palace Humboldt Forum, joined fellow NGOs to prepare the campaign No Humboldt 21. This came out of a deeply felt conviction that was planned without us to reconstruct the palace of the Brandenburgian, Prussian and German colonial rulers and to return into this building these cultural and often sacred objects they had once acquired and appropriated in colonized countries, and that this would be a highly colonial and even an imperial gesture. What made things worse was our knowledge about thousands of human remains of colonized people from all over the world in the basements of the Foundation of Prussian Cultural Heritage we were trying to make public, almost in vain and with little success. It is no accident, therefore, that especially those of us who are the descendants of colonized people considered the Humboldt Forum as a slap into the face and strongly favored to campaign against what they saw as not bearable. Today, we are happy to say the public debate on these important issues we wished for has certainly grown, but it is still only a start. And we are certain that this debate will not go away anymore and not cease. Today we start with a program focusing on sacred and cultural objects in Berlin museums, but also in a wider German and European context. We will have 3 sections or panels. The one we start off with perspectives from Berlin, with 3 guests. Later on we want to talk about objects acquired in the British Empire and showing or being related to Berlin still, as German colonialism was not a single thing or phenomena, but it was rather connected to European colonialism, and you cannot see it without it. If you look at the objects in our museums, you will find that they were not only taken from German colonies, but from other colonies as well, and found their ways through colonial networks to our collections here. So the second panel will be on the spoils of empire, on the British Empire, and the third one we called Colonizing the Divine, being related to cultural objects and sacred objects and ritual objects from the former German colonies. We hope that you will stay on then, even after these 3 sections. For a book launch, we have prepared publication, the first one, I think, from our campaign No Humboldt 21, which will be presented in the evening. And then, we hope you will still stay on, we will have 2 documentaries. The one will be on the rather recent debate by a Cameroonian director made here in Berlin, called Transparent Walls, telling about what is going on and debated at the moment. And the second one is a movie or a documentary we wanted to show because it shows and proves that the debate on human remains in our collections here is not a new one and not a recent one, but it has started, or the knowledge about this, the public knowledge, at least of some persons, was available already 15 years ago. So this we found important to show you that it is high time to speak about these things. And tomorrow, and that was important for us, that we divide these 2 days, because if we today speak about objects, tomorrow we speak about a different thing. It is about human remains. And we don't agree with this attitude of many anthropologists to see skulls and human remains as objects in a collection. That's why we divided these 2 days and said we want to have them separate, even if they are in a way united or related to each other because of their history here in Berlin. Now I would like to thank all these people without whom this conference would not have been possible. First, I want to mention and introduce or say the names of the moderators and presenters who volunteered to present the speakers during these 2 days. I'm very grateful to this, or we are very grateful. There is Dr. Noah Ha, Karen Taylor, and we thank Regina Saarreiter, Marion Karis, Tahir Della, Konradin Kunze, and Jan Negal. And then we had an incredible, a wonderful team who prepared all of this. We are rather some two old men. We wouldn't have managed to do all this here. So we had at least 10 people volunteering for weeks now already. This is Momme Diedrichsen, Kerti Puni-Specht, Katja Wenzel, Felicitas Qualmann, Mara Stirner, Jan Damme, Mirjam Mem, Sabrina Krümpelmann, Left Vision, and Josh Govanet. So I thank you very much, and I would like to applaud them. And last but not least, we have to thank the foundations who funded this or made it possible financially to do this. Here, this is the Stiftung Nord-Süd-Brücken, the Berliner Landesstelle für Entwicklungszusammenarbeit, Engagement Global, the Ministry of Developmental Cooperation, the Rosa Luxemburg Foundation, the Foundation Partnership with Africa, and the Centre Français de Berlin, who have always been nice and agreeable and beautiful cooperation partners over the years now. So now I would like to ask the Senator for Culture and Europe, Dr. Lederer, to speak the welcome speech or welcome address, and would like to pronounce again that we are very happy that you're here. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, friends, it's a great honor for me to welcome you all here today in the name of the state of Berlin. We are here in Müllerstraße in the neighborhood of Wedding. It's a very special place in which the history of German colonialism is still deeply inscribed. A lot of you have been advocating for many years to finally remain the streets in the so-called African neighborhood, only a few 100 meters walk from here, which still honors the colonial perpetrators Peter, Lüderitz, and Nachtigall. I would like to take this opportunity to especially thank you, the descendants of the victims of German colonialism from Namibia and Tanzania, that despite the still existing civilization of the German colonial period, you have come here to the land of the former colonial oppressors to fight against this injustice. I herewith express my greatest recognition and respect. Berlin is the place within just a few months during the years 1884 and 1885, the European states, together with the United States and the Ottoman Empire, arbitrarily divided the African continent into colonies. From the German imperial capital, the rule over and the many crimes against the German colonies were organized. And it was also from Berlin where between 1904 and 1908 the inhuman war of extermination against the Herero and Nama, and back then so-called German Southwest Africa, was commanded. The fact that this genocide, for this cannot be called anything else, has not yet found this way into the German commemorative culture is unacceptable. As a former capital of the German Empire, Berlin has a very special responsibility. It's now time to face this issue and to take the necessary steps. As Senator for Culture and Europe, however, I'm only equipped with limited resources. The renaming of streets, for example, is in the hands and responsibility of the Berlin districts. Nevertheless, I'm strongly supporting the currently ongoing search process for new names, which are supposed to mainly honor resistance fighters of the former colonies. Even though this process has not been completely free of conflict so far, I'm confident that the district is on the right track here and that we will soon be able to celebrate renaming festivals on the streets of Wedding. Our main tasks on the Berlin level lie primarily in developing, together with the civil society, the descendants of the victims, the federal level, and the districts of Berlin, a viable concept for a vivid commemorative culture of German colonialism and its far-reaching consequences. I have been mayor and senator for culture of Berlin for less than a year now. It is our declared aim to put this issue on the agenda during the current legislative period of 5 years. However, it is very important for me to emphasize that this cannot be a self-contained process. The consequences of German colonialism endure up until now. They are perceptible every day. Colonial thinking is still present in racist patterns of structural discrimination against black people in Germany. The title of today's event clearly points out the thematic focus of the upcoming 2 conference days. Not only since the summer, the Humboldt Forum has been criticized for not discussing the colonial origins of many artworks and for not taking subject matter seriously enough. And of course, those responsible will have to deal with these issues before the opening. The origins and the acquisition contexts of the objects to be exhibited must be made transparent, possible returns negotiated with the countries of origin, and especially with regards of human remains handed over to the respective descendants. I can comprehend the criticism regarding the overall concept of the Humboldt Forum. As Senator of Culture, I'm also a member of the Foundation Council of the Prussian Cultural Heritage Foundation, and therefore I exchange views and discuss with the persons responsible on a regular basis. I feel that the different standpoints are not as rigid, and the professional opinions are not as far apart as it always seems from the outside or through the media. But there are a lot of things to do in the close future. The huge attention that colonialism has received in the course of the last month, especially due to the enormous commitment of all those present here today, is a great opportunity which we should use. And I'm very confident that the people in charge of the Humboldt Forum will not deny doing so. On the contrary, it's in their own interest. Quite apart from the Humboldt Forum, I'm very happy to see a lot of exciting projects dealing with German colonialism popping up in the Berlin cultural scene these days. We can start locally here in Berlin and then increase to the next levels. The district museums always and already play a leading role in doing so. In the framework of the so-called Reparation Week, which is also coordinated by the organizers of this conference, an exciting exhibition opened yesterday in the District Museum of Treptow about the first German colonial exhibition in 1896. The Berlin Senate of Culture and Europe has set up a small but fine project fund to financially support these projects, dealing with topics around commemorative culture. With this fund, we were also able to finance an exhibition at the District Museum of Tempelhof Schöneberg, which historically and artistically examines its own colonial past. I'm very optimistic, and I will do everything in my power that we'll see many more of these kinds of projects in Berlin in the next years. I'm very happy to be here today and learn as much as possible from your experiences and advice. I'd like to thank the organizers for the great program throughout the week and wish all of us an exciting event. Thank you very much.